That was my first experience of this organ, and I'm gonna say, just wow. Thank you, Ed. Good morning. My name is Dara Bryans, and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm so glad to be here with you all on this beautiful spring morning as we begin our journey together toward building ministry. Our opening words come from UU Minister Reverend Gretchen Haley. Because the tides are rising, so must we. Rise to this moment, rise to this day. Rise to this life, this place in the web that is yours and ours. Rise because the earth remains our only home, and we, fellow travelers, its only hope for healing, wholeness, and salvation. Rise before the mystery, before the Big Bang that started it all, that this infinite universe still takes notice of us, still feels the in and out of our breath, still holds us, connects us. Rise or surrender with gratitude for this beauty, this chance to be a part of it all, to give back, to weave life, past, present, and future, everywhere, always as one. Come, let us worship together. The soul singers will be leading us in our opening hymn, and I invite you to rise as you are able in body or in spirit. For our opening hymn, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. The lyrics can be found in the Teal Hymnal at 1007.
Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek. Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds that link us to all living things.
Good morning. I am savoring this moment. Welcome to all, whoever you are, wherever you are from, however you arrived here today, whether in person or on Zoom. You are part of this beloved congregation and you are welcome here. I am Carol Robison. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is my pleasure to serve as the worship associate for today's service, and I am also in the pulpit today on behalf of the Ministerial Search Committee. First Parish gratefully acknowledges the Patuxet Wampanoag people on whose ancestral lands we gather today. We commit to support and honor their history and culture. Interim Susan Milner is away this Sunday and next, and will be back in the pulpit on May 11th. Coffee hour will take place following the service in the Harvey Assembly Hall, which you reach going through the door to your right, through the parlor, and to the end of the hall on the other side. Just follow the crowd. If you are new, we have a red mug for you to take during coffee hour, and I think we should give this to Dara. Now for the really important part. It is with a hopeful heart and great joy that I welcome Dara Bryans to our service today. Dara is the finalist in our congregational search. She is officially our candidate to become the 29th settled minister of First Parish Church, reaching back all the way to the year 1627. This is now officially candidating week. It's the culmination of a process that began back in May of last year when our Ministerial Search Committee was elected to follow a very arduous process to get to this point. And I hesitate to take the time to do this, but I think it's important that I give you the highlights of what's going to happen in this next week. We have organized a series of activities and opportunities for you to get to know Dara and for Dara to get to know you. And some of those are formal in the sense of committee meetings that she will be attending. But also we have what we're calling drop-in office hours here at the church at different times during the week, and the same basic drop-in office hours on Zoom also 3 times during the week. These are informal. There's no structure planned for them, and you are welcome to attend any or all of these. We also have scheduled a brown bag lunch Tuesday. You bring your lunch. We provide the dessert and beverages. Dara will be at Fun Friday on this week. I understand that the theme this time is animals, and I think there are going to be other creatures besides the 2-legged kind there for you to interact with. And then there's an all-church luncheon on Saturday. Again, please note that these are informal events. All are welcome. They're kid-friendly as needed. If you have young ones that you need to take care of, they are welcome too, because they're as much a part of the congregation as anybody else is. And let's see, it's complicated because there are a lot of different events, but there are multiple schedules around. If you need a link for the Zoom events, you can look on the weekly distro newsletter, or I'm told that the links are also online. And let's see, Jim, am I missing anything? Is that it? Okay, good. All right, and the last and perhaps the most important mention to make is that Daryl will be leading the service next Sunday as well, and immediately after the service, we will move to a congregational vote on whether or not we want to call her as our next settled minister. And now we will sing the kids out so they can get on with their programming.
As we enter our time of prayer and meditation, I know that some among us do not like that word, prayer, and I'd like to offer this understanding of prayer that comes from Reinhold Niebuhr, and it is something that my home congregation minister reminds us of often, and it is that prayer does not change things. Prayer changes people, and people change things. If this framing is useful to you, as it's been for me, please feel free to make it your own. In whatever way that you understand prayer, I invite you to bring that understanding to this prayer practice this morning. As we begin, please settle yourself into your pews or your seats from wherever you are joining us from. Relax your body. Let go of your worries. And breathe with me, in and out. Spirit of love and connection, as we begin our week together, strengthen our hearts for the fierce and tender work of building relationships. Many of us come here this morning with the greatest of hopes for a shared ministry that invigorates our spirits, restores our hearts, and emboldens our actions. May we become the beloved community our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors dreamed of. A community that engages in the difficult work of transforming our world into a place of loving care for all beings. Spirit of creation, we lift our prayers of gratitude this morning at the end of a week that held our Earth Day celebrations. We are grateful for gentle spring rains that soak the earth, nurturing early spring growth, for seeds germinating, for daffodils and tulips in bloom, for tender new leaves unfurling along tree branches. May the sunshine and rain coax life from the soil. May our hearts and our hopes bring relationships into bloom. May it be so. Amen. We will now be held in several moments of silence. Amen for those silent prayers in our hearts. Now is the time in our service when we collect the morning's offering. This is the offering that gives oxygen to the life of this congregation, that nurtures growth, that sets our boundaries, that helps us foster love and compassion in our world. I encourage you to give as generously as you are able. May the ushers please come forward. Our reading this morning is called The Taking Tree. It's a poem written by African-American poet, activist, and spoken word artist Jamil Adams. Shel Silverstein, is an immaculate author. The prose penned by him incarcerate flames of expert literary penmanship. He is celebrated, and one of his most prized narrations is the beloved entitled The Giving Tree. I have never understood literature's love affair with this story about a boy and a tree growing old together, while the tree gives all it can to the boy. Fantastic pageantry of Miss Morals. This is really foreshadowing privilege and capitalism. The Giving Tree is really the story of a boy taking, masked as asking, everything from the tree until the tree has nothing. This boy takes every piece of bark and possibility of continued life from the tree until death, and even then, he is still unsatisfied. Give me, give me, give me. I want more. Give me until you have nothing, and then I'll move on. I wonder, the skin color of this boy, who are this kid's parents? What values have they taught him? Does he treat his family the same? Is this the type of spouse he'd be? What love language is this? Have you ever thought about what a tree experienced before that boy came along? Imagine the hangings this tree was forced to participate in, the things carved in and cut into it. Did it hurt the tree to break itself? The pain it felt between visits from the boy, the healing the tree never got to complete, the sacrifice of the tree's children. Was the tree giving or used? Did the tree know nature and freedom, or how to obey and serve? Even when the tree was but a stump, the boy sits on it. This is not the story of sharing or of kindness. This is not a story of love. And so, we propose a new narrative called The Taking Tree. It's the story of a tree taking, masked as asking, the boy's privilege, growing thorns to protect itself from being taken advantage of, spreading seeds to grow a family that loves it and each other, that says no to anyone, trying to hustle it out of its skin, trying to use it. But it loves us all, enough to give us oxygen to breathe. This is the story of evolution, love of self and freedom. How many of us are a giving tree, needing to turn taking tree? Are you a giving yourself grace? Are you a giving tree? And do you need to change your narrative toward freedom? Here ends our reading. I'm curious, how many of you read The Giving Tree when you were children? Yeah, how many of you read it to your kids? Yeah. When I was a child, a family friend gave the book to my mom, and it sat on our shelf, and she never read it to us. But my friend spoke of it in such loving terms that I was curious, and so I pulled it off the shelf and I read it to see what I was missing. Imagine my surprise when I learned that this story of supposed unconditional love was not a love story at all. In fact, I hated this book. I wondered why The Giving Tree was a positive tale with lessons that we want our children to learn. When I heard Jamil Adams' poem, it resonated really deeply with me. Why would we hold up a story that to me speaks of abject selflessness by the tree and narcissistic self-absorption by the child? What I hear in this story is a tyrant who demands everything from the tree, its heartwood, its trunk, its bark, all for his own profit. And when the tree has nothing left to give, the child uses the tree stump as an inanimate chair to sit on. What I hear is a message that giving and giving and giving, even unto our deaths, is the right and moral choice. Selfishness and selflessness without compassion and empathy. Now, I don't know if you've read the book that's called The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben, but he describes in that book that trees are not as many of us might have assumed or have learned over time. They are not solitary individual beings. Trees work together. They offer warnings and they offer shelter for young saplings and nutrients to the aged and the ailing trees. They do not live in isolation. They live as an endless, interconnected whole. Each tree is connected to its neighbors through a vast underground network of mycelium. African American and queer activist Adaku Utah, in their writing, Cultivating Trust as an Organizing Strategy, writes that mycelium have been, quote, one of their greatest teachers of trust. Mycelium as a community of fungus that sends out tendrils through the soil to facilitate connection between everything that lives in the soil of the forest. They connect the giving tree to the giving tree's neighbors. They transfer nutrients from one tree to the next. They maintain the balance within the forest ecosystem. Utah writes, this mycelial network cannot exist without trust. The mycelium communication highway recognizes and believes in the collective ability to channel and receive nutrients where needed, protect against parasites, and expand roots into necessary sites of growth. Trust, because this network of mycelium and the trees need to be able to trust one another to offer and transport resources to others when they're in need, and to be able to trust that they will receive resources when they are in need. This interdependence requires vulnerability, to admit to our tired and our broken places. And it requires boundaries so that we don't become selfish or selfless. It means that we need to look at the forest as a single organism with trees as part of its vast and interconnected body of being. Each tree thriving because it exists in community and in relationship. Jamil is right. We all need to become taking trees. In this world that we are currently living in, a time when the gap between the haves and the have-nots is growing ever wider, a time when the fabric of our relationships and our society are being stretched and strained, frayed and broken, and at sometimes deliberately cut. We need to be the taking tree. We need to put out barbs, to say no to one more ask, one more non-consensual taking, and like Jamil's taking tree, like the trees in the forest, we need to offer our love out into the world. This love that looks like trust, this love that looks like boundaries that say, no, you cannot exploit, abuse, or oppress any one of us without hurting all of us. This love that recognizes our mutual need for one another. This love that creates oxygen and sends it out into the world for all who are badly in need of care. The child in the giving tree that took and took and took never understood that the tree was not theirs for the taking. The tree belonged to itself, to its community. It was a grandparent tree, an elder, wise and loving, sheltering seedlings, sharing nutrients, and always sending oxygen out into the world. Now, I like to believe that after the child sat on that tree stump, and after the child walked away thinking that that tree had nothing left to give, the mycelium in the soil connected that stump with all of its brethren, those in the forest who were able to see the beauty and the gift and the wisdom and the love that the tree, now a stump, still had to offer to the world. These companions who had been sheltered and loved by the tree when it was young and strong. I like to believe that these brethren sent nutrients, and they sent love, and they sent oxygen to that stump, and that soon new branches emerged. I don't know if y'all have ever seen this before, a tree that's cut down that has these odd and strange and awkward branches reaching up with delicate new green growth along. New life, new hope, and maybe that tree continued to live. I like to believe that when the tree was cut down, life went underground, to the roots tied together through the mycelium network of mutual aid. Because, friends, love always finds a way. Love and care for one another will always be stronger than greed and violent taking. This is the story of evolution, love of self and freedom. This is the lesson from the taking tree. Stretch your roots down. Connect to one another. Trust. Be in relationship. Offer mutual aid. We need one another. In today's world, we need to offer each other oxygen when our breath has been stolen by the audacity of a government that snatches immigrants off the streets, that limits our knowing and our understanding and our imagination of what limits our knowing and understanding to only 2 gender roles, that cuts funding to programs that serve the most vulnerable in order to give tax breaks to the most wealthy. In these uncertain times, we need one another. We need to live like the forest, like the mycelium, building trust, building relationships of mutuality. Mycelium that affirms the commitment to building relationships of trust that encourage all life to bloom. I I will breathe oxygen out into the world for you. I will send you nutrients. Because the only way to survive is to live in community, to be a taking tree that balances care for ourselves with care for one another and for our world. May it be so. So on this Earth Day, there we go. If I forget the mic, remind me to put it back up so you can hear me. On this post-Earth Day weekend, we are going to engage together in a ritual that will continue our celebration of our Mother Earth. This morning, together in this ritual, we will honor the interconnected web of all existence and to recognize our relationship with all of creation for mutual care and love. Human beings have used ritual for millennia to mark very important days and times, to connect with something greater than ourselves, and to do so in community. Personally, I believe that rituals are a way that we can bring embodiment into our practice of worship. Worship at its best should engage all of us, our hearts, our minds, and our bodies. So our embodied practice this morning will do just that, draw on all of these parts of ourselves. This morning in community, we will be blessing some zinnia seeds and some soil, which we have here on our table. We see these seeds and soil as symbols of all the seeds germinating and growing within the earth this spring and the soil that nurtures them to life throughout the world. When these seeds grow, may they be a reminder to be a taking tree with a shared commitment to love and to nourish our relationships with one another as we tend and care for these zinnias. We'll begin with a blessing of the soil that's here in the sanctuary with us, as well as the seeds that will be nurtured. And then you will be invited up to our table to take just a pinch. Last time I did this ritual, people took more than a pinch, and I had 50 million zinnias growing. So just a pinch, and scatter them. And before you leave, I have packets of seeds for folks to take home with you and plant these seeds for yourself in your gardens or in pots on your decks and patios. So as you come up and as you scatter these seeds on top of the soil, I invite you to offer a silent prayer or a heartfelt wish or blessing for their well-being and growth. Remind yourself that the soil and the seeds of our common ancestor, our Mother Earth, holds and sustains us. And when you leave the table, as I said, please take a packet of seeds with you. And if you are joining us from somewhere other than our sanctuary, please do offer your blessing and prayer for these seeds, because I believe that love and blessings know no temporal or spatial limitations. And if you are joining us from somewhere else, I will be leaving some seeds here at the church, so come please and pick up a pack of seeds for yourself this week. And as we plant our seeds, all of us at home, and nurture their growth, know that the seeds are growing in your fellow First Parishioners' gardens, connecting us all with their blooms and their beauty. Let us begin our ritual with our blessing of the seeds and soil. So please, you can either hold your hands up or if you prefer, cross them over your chest on your heart. And I invite you to open your heart and direct your loving intention now toward the soil and seeds. Generative spirits of love and life, this morning we offer our blessing for seeds and soil, for their interdependent relationship that embodies life and embraces decay. Within the soil, the cycle of life. Within the seed, rebirth of hope. May they together remind us all of our relationships of interdependence, seed upon soil, hummingbird and bee upon flower, and soil upon dying flower. May we humans be spiritually sustained by nurturing these relationships. May the flowers that bloom connect us and fill our hearts with joy and love for one another and all of creation. Blessed be. I invite you to come forward now in silence. If you would come through the center aisle and return to your seats by the side aisles. Take a few seeds, scatter them, and then a packet with you back for home.
Nice job.
I apologize to folks that I ran out of seed packets, but I had, I bought 20,000 seeds, so I've got more, and I will make up packets and have them here if you come during the office hours, or I'll have them next Sunday for you. So I'm sorry for those of you who didn't get packets. So as our final act of this ritual this morning, we're going to do two more things. First, we're going to tuck them into bed, into their lovely soil by adding some compost that comes from my husband Daryl's and my composter at home. So we're going to give them a nice blanket of compost. And then we'll add water. Now this, oops. I was warned not to touch the buttons. So we offer this water, which was rain that I collected from yesterday's storm, water that brings life to all things. May it spark life held within our hearts as it awakens hope and new relationships. Thank you, everyone, for participating in our ritual. Amen. Our final hymn is number 207 in our gray hymnals, Earth Was Given as a Garden. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing. As we do each week, I invite you to join me in saying these words printed in your orders of service that are written by Elizabeth Selly Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You may be seated for the benediction. This morning, we planted seeds of hope and connection. May these seeds send down roots, grounding the emerging plants in the soil of our love. As you water and nurture the delicate plant growth, may their roots and stems and leaves remind us to similarly tend to the deepening of our relationships. As our zinnias come into bloom this summer, may they fill our hearts with joy, knowing that their siblings are growing in pots and garden beds and flowering with all of us here in community this morning. As we leave our sanctuary, may we carry within our hearts the seeds of hope, the germinating seeds of relationship and connection. May our sacred time and space together foster ever-deepening relationships as we embark on this candidating week together. Our service begins when our service ends. Go in peace.